Hello, you are tuning into Uneducated Guests with Josiah. I'm your host, Josiah. I'm a senior in high school that has to do a project for a college class, but I didn't feel like looking anything up. So, here I am. Today's topic is one you all voted on and asked for: dinosaurs. Now, that's not necessarily a small topic, but it's also not necessarily a large topic because they're all kind of dead. Well, we hope they're all dead. It could be like Center of the Earth, or wait, was that the movie? Journey to the Center of the Earth, where they're all in like a giant pocket underground. It's sort of like living throughout because they've got like a fake sun and like it's just all prehistoric land that's untouched by man. But that's just a whole nother scenario of topics. So the end of dinosaurs is where I guess we'll start. A lot of people are pretty sure that they all died from, that meteor. Like that's what most scientists, most historians agree on, is that dinosaurs were killed by a meteor that like hurtled towards Earth and just wiped out everyone. Or not wiped out everyone, wiped out like 90% of the dinosaurs. But then you got like, I'm pretty sure chickens are related to dinosaurs, like T-Rexes or something. Because now they're trying to find like, oh yeah, dinosaurs had feathers. They weren't like reptilian, which I am just like, what? Wait, are chickens cold-blooded? I am not. Oh, that bothers me. Are birds cold-blooded? They lay eggs, so that means, yeah, they're cold-blooded, because the only warm-blooded mammal that can lay eggs is a platypus, like Perry the platypus, or Agent P, as we all know him and love him. So, yeah, so dinosaurs had to have been cold-blooded because they were like birds and laid eggs. Wait a minute. Yeah, so why would people think dinosaurs weren't like birds? Because if they laid eggs, that would make sense. Well, I guess alligators and salamanders and that kind of stuff lay eggs, right? So maybe they could have been scaly and like, well, not scaly, but like leathery skin instead of actual feathers. Cause like I think wouldn't feathers like be produced in like the bone layers, like fossils and stuff? Well, not like obviously like the soft part of the feather, but like where it sticks into the skin. Feathers got that like giant calcium spike on them. So I feel like those would be like sticking into the fossils. I mean, I'd hope, because it's like fingernails, isn't it? They can like regrow feathers and stuff like that, like birds. They'll regrow feathers because they preen them like themselves to clean themselves. So wait, would fingernails be stuck in fossils? Because teeth and fingernails are like the same thing, right? Because they're both calcium. They're both a form of bone. Fingernails are just a really fine bone. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure feathers are like bone. Because they're definitely not like hair follicles. Because hair follicles are just like different fibers and stuff. And like different vitamins that are just coming through the head. But people like to think they're a fashion. But hair is literally just just vitamins. That's all it is with a follicle. That's what they grow from. But dinosaurs are depicted as like giant leathery I don't know how I would describe a dinosaur if I was trying to without like telling what a dinosaur is. It's like a lot of them were like bipedal. A lot of them ran on 2 feet, like T-Rexes, Velociraptors. Actually, I think those are like one of the only two that are actually bipedal. Then there's like the elephant dinosaur. It's got 3 Triceratops. It's got 3 horns. I remember that one. Velociraptors are pretty dope because it shows them in Jurassic Park, which Jurassic Park was one of the best movies because I'm pretty sure it was like the first to do, like, its budget was so expansive because they made such quote unquote realistic dinosaurs. They just had very realistic effects and stuff like that. And so it was a very big budget movie, very well done movie, which I enjoy the Jurassic Park series. even now, like the new ones like Jurassic World, Jurassic Fallen Kingdom, I still enjoy them a lot. Even though like the Jurassic Park, the first one was obviously a really good movie, and it was very revolutionary for that time period, early 2000s. It just changed how we do movies and stuff like that. But dinosaurs are just really interesting because we don't know a lot about them, and that what we do know about them can be completely changed. Because, like, the way we find fossils and stuff, scientists kind of just guess where they go. Like, I forgot, I think I saw an article on it. They thought there was a new dinosaur, right? But they just mixed up the bones of, like, two different kinds of dinosaurs. And I'm just like, are you serious? That's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it obviously makes sense that they can do that, and it's like not terrible that they did that because it's like evolution, right? They're trying to find the pieces, but some of the pieces are missing, like the missing link. So like you're gonna miss a bone or two. Like I think there was one dinosaur they just recently found like almost completely intact, which was like super surprising because apparently when fossils decay or not like when fossils are made, not the entire skeleton or something's made, or maybe they just break things. Oh, that makes me think of Egypt, like mummies and stuff. Like those are really cool tombs, but they can find the same stuff with like dinosaurs. You can find like their nests and eggs and stuff, like fossilized dinosaur eggs. That's kind of cool. I mean, that's how Jurassic Park started. They found fossilized dinosaur eggs or something and made like dinosaur babies. That's actually it's kind of messed up. It's like people when they try to bring back the dodo bird. It's basically the same thing with dinosaurs. So that's kind of happening in real life right now, except, on a little smaller scale. We're like basically making clones of animals that have gone extinct to bring them back. I mean, Jurassic Park did the same thing, except they're doing dinosaurs instead of like, dodo birds. But I think dodo birds went extinct for a reason. They seem kind of dumb on Phineas and Ferb, but they're giant. Like, think about it. A dodo would be the size of like an emu, right? Emus are just like small ostriches, or are they the same size as ostriches? Emus are just like basically emus are emo birds. They're just all black and gray and just dreary. And they're also extremely vicious. Like, they will attack you to death. And they're like pack dogs, except they're birds. So think about like a pack of wolves, right? Except they got beaks and they hiss. Emus are just black geese. Holy crap. Emus are just angry little geese birds, except they're larger than geese. So are emus really the worst bird? Because geese are awful. I hate geese. I hope you all hate geese too. Geese are like the worst animal in existence, except honey badgers, but you don't want to talk crap about honey badgers because honey badgers are horrifying. Like, you ever seen a honey badger? It's like got like the claws the size of a sloth. Sloth claws are like super like long and sharp, but they don't really use them because they're kind of lazy. Honey badgers just don't care. Honey badgers will kill anything and fight anything. Honey badgers are the geese of badger. I'm actually not sure what other badgers there are besides honey badgers. I think there's probably woodland badgers. That sounds right. Maybe there's some jelly badgers, some jam badgers, some grape badgers. Oh, I'm really bad. I don't like those puns. It's terrible. But I think if dinosaurs, like, so people, right, talk about Adam and Eve, the like humans rode with dinosaurs, is absolutely ridiculous. It is impossible for humans to have been alive when dinosaurs were alive, simply for the fact that fossil records prove that didn't happen. You would have found human bones and dinosaur bones in the same, like if humans were riding dinosaurs, you would have seen it in the fossil records. Humans would have died on the same level as fossils for dinosaurs. And I think it's possible that dinosaurs could actually still exist. Like, you know how people have found like cavemen and like mammoths and like glaciers, ice. Yeah, I think they could be frozen in like an ice age type situation where they're just like in glaciers. And probably global warming's gonna unlock a vent to like a new world. Like what's that one movie called? Nazis in the Center of the Earth or something like that. Like there was basically Nazis at the center of the earth. I was watching that movie. Not recently. I mean, it was sort of recent. It was last year, so like 3 months ago. But I had to stop after Robot Hitler came out. I was in tears. That was so terrible. And not like terrible isn't bad, but like I mean, it was pretty terribly made movie. I mean, it's a cult classic, which I thought it meant it was like good, but that just means old apparently. But yeah, I was watching that movie and they just discovered the Nazis' hideout because they were looking for like 2 lost people or something on their team, and they decided to go into like Antarctic Glacier and just drop down, down, down until they got to the center of the earth where there was prehistoric everything, and there was like a Nazi base, which I mean makes sense. I mean, I wouldn't doubt there's still probably like Nazi moon base like on that one movie. I can't remember what it was called, but there was like a Nazi moon base still. They didn't realize Hitler was dead and everything, and that they had lost the war. So there was just Nazis doing something on the moon. They ended up turning a black astronaut white though, which is really bad. They used like I can't remember what it's called. They had like a certain technique where they turned the skin like white and they brainwashed people. Oh, Nazis did some messed up experiments, but that's why you gotta love them. Whoa, did I seriously just say that? I meant like they did a lot of scientific advancements. That's what I meant. I don't mean like I support Nazis, but like they did do a lot for science. Like they made the first active missiles. They did a lot of top secret Nazi projects where they were trying to invent death rays of some certain kinds. They were doing a lot with like human genetics and like advancements, trying to make super soldiers and stuff like that. It's really interesting once you get into that stuff. But I feel like we could find dinosaurs that way, that are just like hidden like Nazis in the center of the earth. I feel like that would make sense. Because like think about it. I feel like so small dinosaurs survived the explosion, right? And there was another article, I read the title of it. It was like if scientists believe if the meteor had struck anywhere else in the world, the dinosaurs would have survived. And I'm like, that's kind of odd. But I'm going to look all this up later because I have no idea what I'm talking about right now. But basically, I feel as if dinosaurs could still be living because supposedly only small dinosaurs lived and reproduced and turned into the creatures we know today as like ducks and like stuff. Holy crap, geese are just tiny dinosaurs. Geese are literally velociraptors. They're kind of rude and like cult mentality, herd mentality, cult mentality. Same difference. They just attack in packs of people. It's awful. I really hate geese. But I feel like larger dinosaurs, like smarter ones, like since their brain was like a lot bigger, they probably hid somewhere and didn't let the explosion kill them, so they could probably still be reproducing like deep underground or something like that. So that'd be really interesting, really cool thing to find out about. Well, that's all I have for this time. I'm going to go do some research, and elevator music, go. Hey guys, I am back after doing some research on dinosaurs, and it was interesting because, as you know, I just decided to go down rabbit holes and go and start theorizing on things. So the first thing is obviously what I mentioned is about dinosaurs being feathered. Now this is really interesting. Since 1983, hundreds of such fossils, most of them from China, have reinforced the idea of warm-blooded, active, feathered dinos, as that's quoted. Many are as detailed in their perfect reproduction of feathers as the iconic Archaeopteryx. The new fossils have provided clues for interpreting older fossils too. We can now see where complex feathers attached or inserted on the arm bones of theropods They're carnivorous bipedal dinosaurs that include T-Rex and the velociraptors. Still other fossils with feathers have been found in Mongolia. Now, I honestly don't agree with any of that because it makes absolutely no sense. So it's supposedly that scientists have just been putting out that dinosaurs have feathers even though they've had proof. But that would make no sense. Why would they feel the need to cover it up? So I don't believe that all dinosaurs, like I was saying, had feathers or are warm-blooded. Because it makes no sense for the scientists before them to lie about it. It's just completely ridiculous. Now, the person that was Indiana Jones was molded off of discovered the first dinosaur eggs ever found. He also found the bones of a strange bird-like creature taller than a man, which he named Oviraptor, the egg thief. Oviraptor and its relatives have become stars in the new dinosaur menagerie, ranging in size from smaller than a human to 10 feet tall. They are among the most bird-like dino fossils. They had toothless beaks and wings with clawed hands, too small to fly, but enough to span to cover their eggs when on the nest. They were not stealing the eggs, but sheltering them from sudden dust storms. Some had fans of feathers at the end of their tails, which we now know were marked in bold patterns that might have been used in courtship rituals. Some early observers thought Oviraptor was bird-like, but the sluggish lizard paradigm about dinosaurs was so established that physical evidence such as feather insertion points were overlooked for years. See, that makes absolutely no sense. Why would people theorize that? Just throw this stuff out the windows, because it just makes absolutely no sense. And it just bothers me. But most people know about the theory that a giant asteroid contributed to killing off the dinosaurs some 66 million years ago. Right? That's what most people think. They're like, well, most people theorize that killed off most of the dinosaurs, not like a lot of them. But actually, a new study proved that there was a mass extinction before that. Let me look for the date here. 252.2 million years before that. The Primo-Jurassic mass extinction wiped out up to 70% of all land animals and 96% of all marine species during what was, for most, a bleak time. It's believed that the die-off began after volcanic activity released massive amounts of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, according to paleontologist Martin Ezcura. See, this is another thing I think, that humans take too much credit for mass extinctions, like killing off certain species, but it happens in nature so constantly. It wiped out 70% of all land animals and 90% of all ocean-dwelling animals. Do you know how massive, how ridiculous of a number that is? And there were no humans around yet, so obviously we can't take the credit for that. And I just think we shouldn't be taking the credit for so much, like global warming and stuff like that. That's unpreventable. If there's going to be a mass extinction, it's going to happen. Nature, we can play a part in it, yes, but it will happen whether we want it to or not, and there's no stopping it. These produced a breakdown of the ocean atmosphere equilibrium, leading to oceanic anoxia, basically the deficiency of oxygen, and rapid climate change. See, that's still happening today, except it's at a much slower, a much more decreased pace than it did then. Otherwise, we'd all be kind of dead. Among the most recent finds is that dinosaurs were capable of digging into the ground for shelter. Burrows found in Australia and Montana show that some small herbivorous dinosaurs dug out cozy little resting places in the cool earth. Now, so I think this happened because dinosaurs, it said the distinctive trace fossils found so far are Cretaceous in age, over 100 million years after the first dinosaurs evolved. That's why a new +1 paper by paleontologist Karina Colomba caught my eye. This is a direct quote, by the way. In the Jurassic rock by Argentina's Ishigalasta Basin, Columbi and co-authors report there are large diameter burrows created by vertebrates that lived approximately 230 million years ago. Archaic dinosaurs such as Eoraptor and Herrerasaurus roamed these habitats. Could dinosaurs be responsible for the burrows? So it said it happened 230 million years ago. Well, the first extinction, the first mass extinction anyway, that caused extreme climate change happened 252.2 million years ago. So I believe dinosaurs started burrowing because they knew that the world was going to end, that it was going to collapse, and they started going the instinctive. They started wanting to self-preserve, so they started digging underground to get away from the destruction. I feel like dinosaurs knew the asteroid was going to come. I feel like they started burrowing underground, and this actually gets into another thing. So the American project Mohole, stationed off the Pacific coast of Mexico, was cut short in 1966 due to lack of funding, but set an important precedent for future offshore drilling programs. And now this is where it gets interesting. The Soviets, thanks to the planning of the Interdepartmental Scientific Council for the Study of the Earth's Interior and super deep drilling, had greater success. From 1970 to 1994, you guys probably don't know this, but I'm really interested in Nazis, their projects, and Soviets and USSR basically time era, like Cold War projects and stuff like that really interest me. And this was a project during when the USSR still exists. It was called the Kola Peninsula, the super drill basically. And it chipped slowly away to create an earth-shattering record at the time, the deepest hole in the world, which it still is. And basically this is why I bring all this up, that dinosaurs were burrowing and that the Kola Peninsula drill. So this is a direct quote from Rodney Clough, author of World Top Secret, Our Earth is Hollow. My conception of the hollow Earth, based on my research, is that the shell of the Earth is about 800 miles thick, from the outside to the inner surface. He went even further in our phone conversation. Half the planet is taken up by surface weight, and then there's empty space, and then something else suspended in the center of that hollow is an interior sun, that it is divided by day and night sides, he says. The other parts of the hollow Earth theory is that near the North and South Pole are substantial openings that lead into the interior. Now, this is a very plausible, very worthwhile thing to look up. It's actually really interesting, and I sort of agree with it. But all we've done, so as far as we've done, in actuality, the Kola super deep borehole consists of several holes branching from one central hole. The deepest hole is called SG segment 3. And though just 9 inches in diameter, like the width of the drill, it extends down a staggering 7.5 miles. That's roughly a third of the way through the Baltic continental crust. Now, this goes into my theories of if we do have a hollow Earth and it's truly 800 miles thick, we haven't even gotten near it. The farthest we've dug is 7.5 miles, I think I just read. Yeah, 7.5 miles out of 800 miles. So we would still have 792.5 miles to dig till we actually reach the till we actually reach the hollow Earth center. And that's like really interesting to think about, because if there is a hollow Earth, we haven't even began to go into it. So there's no way they could disprove that theory, because there's no way they would not have proof that it doesn't exist. And if dinosaurs truly did start burrowing after the first extinction, they could have ended up burrowing into the hollow Earth, and it's a prehistoric landscape, a prehistoric sanctuary for all these prehistoric dinosaurs and Cretaceous period plants and animals. And maybe that first mass extinction didn't really wipe out 70% of land animals and 90% of water animal or ocean dwelling animals. Maybe they all went underground into the other world. Like Journey to the Center of the Earth covers that. So does Nazis in the Center of the Earth. Both of them share the Hollow Earth theory in those movies, and it depicts it. But maybe that's what really happened. Maybe all these animals decided that for survival they should burrow underground, and maybe that's what happened. And we only found recent burrowings because all the others just disappeared. We don't know what happened to them. Maybe they went through the holes in the North and South poles and went underground and disappeared. I feel like we could do a lot of research into that, but this is all the time I have for today. Now, the links I got these from is allaboutbirds.org. That's basically about the dinosaurs with feathers. History.com. I use that for the dinosaurs thriving after the first mass extinction. Smithsonianmag.com. I use that for the early dinosaurs burrowing. Atlas Obscura. I use this for 2 links. I used it for the Hollow Earth theory with those quotes from the person I mentioned earlier. I can't find it now because I need Rodney Clough. And I used it for the information on the Kola Super Deep Borehole. So that's all the time I have for today. I will see you guys next time, and have a good weekend, good day, good night, whenever you're listening to this. What the heck? I will see you guys next time. Bye.